The theme for tonight's show is things can change. And we are seeing that, of course, with TikTok, an app that a lot of creators make a lot of money off of and have become full-time creators on this app, whether it's dance videos, whether it's news, short news segments, regardless of the content that they post. A number of creators here looks like might be out of a job, at least on TikTok, because now what has happened is that Biden wanted to push this forward. Donald Trump said, let's give this a minute and let's pause on the TikTok decision. Not something he wanted to push this time around. He did want to push it in 2020. Again, things can change. But the Biden administration decided to be sneaky. They decided, oh, I didn't win. Let me go ahead and ram that through. So they pushed it through. And now the decision and the fate of TikTok belongs to the Supreme Court. And that is where it is now. Nevertheless, don't forget where this all came from. I have to continue to remind people about this, that it was the ADL. They were the ones who had a serious concern about TikTok. Listen to this discussion here from Jonathan Greenblatt in Israel.
You must take this deadly seriously. Pushing extremists off Wikipedia might not seem equal to the challenge of pushing Hezbollah north of the Litani River. Capturing TikTok might seem less meaningful than holding on to Mount Hermon. Libelous tweets certainly might seem less deadly than missiles from Yemen. But this is urgent because the next war will be decided based on how Israel and its allies perform online as much as offline.
So just a reminder there, sorry that video has low volume, it just is what it is, but just a reminder there that this pressure came from the Anti-Defamation League. That's how this all began. Again, they heavily came after TikTok after October 7th when creators were telling the truth about the creation of Israel and, of course, what has been happening to the Palestinian people. So that pressure and that push came from them. Notice he also mentioned Twitter. Remember, Elon Musk started to change his censorship on Twitter after he went to Israel. So we're talking about an organization, and of course, don't forget AIPAC, an organization and a lobby interest group that have tremendous influence to the point where they can push our politicians to ban an app that they feel is not talking about Israel in the way that they want it to be discussed. So that in itself is problematic, but I got to remind you how we got here. Now we are fast forwarding to the SCOTUS hearing, and I do want you to hear from TikTok's lawyer. Part of this discussion here that takes place between the lawyer and this is Amy Coney Barrett. Listen to this.
Speech here. So it strikes me that this is a little different than your Bezos example, because there it's clearly content discrimination because we're talking about the ability to post particular articles versus other articles. Am I right that the algorithm is the speech here?
Yes, Your Honor. I would say it's, the algorithm is a lot of things.
This is Noel Francisco. He's the attorney for TikTok and parent company ByteDance.
The algorithm has built within it. It's basically how we predict what our customers want to see.
The editorial discretion.
Yeah, the editorial discretion. It also has built within it the moderation elements. All of this kind of comes together when the source code is translated into executable code in the United States. In the United States, that executable code is then subject to vetting, review, moderation through content moderation algorithms, and so it ultimately lands on the TikTok platform.
But what we're talking about as a net choice is the editorial discretion that underlies the algorithm. And I just want to be clear, a lot of your examples talk about, including the Bezos one, the right of an American citizen to repeat what a foreign entity says or say, I'm hitching my wagon to China, I want to say everything China does. Here, the concern is about the covert content manipulation piece of the algorithm. That is something that ByteDance wants to speak.
So one of the things I noticed with this hearing, and it's very long and we are not going to go through the whole thing, I would not bore you with that mess. These justices have no idea how TikTok actually works. It reminds me of that hearing that Mark Zuckerberg had about Facebook in Congress, where a lot of these congressmen had no idea what Facebook really was and how it works. So what she is basically saying is that the algorithm is allowing for certain content to be exposed. Listen, I know a number of people that have been banned from TikTok, a number of people that have been censored on TikTok. They've had videos removed. You guys may have already known this, but Midwestern Mocks, they've had a number of their videos removed on TikTok, and that's been happening before October 7th. So this idea that TikTok was not trying to monitor its content is completely false. However, the difference between TikTok and some of these other platforms is that their algorithm allows the everyday average Joe to get on there and go viral. Whereas a lot of us who try to do this on platforms like Twitter or YouTube fail to do so because the algorithm is fixed in such a way. So what she basically is trying to say is that the anti-Israel content, that's what this is really about, got too much attention. That's really what she's trying to say. Listen to a little bit more here.
Right.
Well, Your Honor, I think that ultimately it's TikTok's choice whether to put it on the platform.
And you don't want that. Is your client disclaiming
we absolutely resist any kind of content manipulation by China at all. But what I do want to focus in on is what their asserted interests here. They do talk about covertness, but it can't possibly be that all they're concerned about is mere covertness. If all you were concerned about was the covertness untethered from the underlying content, that's something that could be easily addressed through a risk disclosure.
But that goes to scrutiny, the level
Yes, Your
of
Honor.
the application. Let's say that I agree with you, the First Amendment is implicated, and I'm trying to figure out what level of scrutiny applies, and I'm trying to figure out what content, if any, discrimination is going on here. There's disproportionate burden. Let's say
Right.
that I agree with you about that. No one is preventing you. You're seeking access to a particular source code, engineering, the recommendation feature. It's the technology that you want. You're not trying to repeat, as in the Bezos example, if we take the speech that the government's concerned about to be the covert content manipulation rationale, you're not seeking to utter that speech.
What?
So in my opinion, and some people disagree, in my opinion, this is a free speech issue, because how dare you tell TikTok, oh, we're sorry, but we don't like the fact that certain people are going viral on your platform with certain information about Israel that they don't deem to be acceptable. It's their business. They can choose what type of algorithm they want to have. Why is the government trying to tell an app how they should have their algorithm operate? If this is the case, come on, man. You guys heard Mark Zuckerberg complain that they were trying to, tell him what to take down, what can be there, what to suppress, the type of content, Hunter Biden, of course, the pandemic, etc. And he went along with it. We know Elon Musk is doing the same. And TikTok is that one platform that they haven't been able to have that type of control over. But again, I ask this question. This is a business. This is not a government app. I could understand if the app was created by the government, sponsored by the government, etc., but it is not. So why is it okay for the government to tell a private company what type of algorithm they can have? And for those of you who do support free market, and I know some of you watching me do, for those of you who do support free market, how is this okay? How is this okay?
That's correct, Your Honor. What we are seeking to do is use an algorithm that displays the combination of content that we prefer our users to see on the platform.
And the government doesn't care about that. The government is fine with you doing that. You can invent it yourself. It doesn't even care what content that displays, cat videos or whatever.
Yeah, but I think that the way that the analysis has to unfold is first you ask, is this law burdening our speech? I think we agree that the law is burdening our speech. Then you have to look at whether the law itself is somehow content-based, not just what their motivations are, but whether the law is content-based. And here, the trigger for this law, the one thing that gets it going, is if you operate a social media platform that has user-generated content, unless that content takes the form of a product, travel, or business review. Then within that universe of content, it says there's one speaker we're particularly concerned about, and we're gonna hammer home on that one speaker. And then just to make the rubble bounce, they come in and tell us that one of the reasons they're targeting that speaker is because they're worried about the future content on that platform, that it could in the future somehow be critical of the United States or undermine democracy, to pull examples from the government's brief. So I think there's no way to get around the fact that this is a content-based speech restriction, and you do have to go directly to what their interests are. Now, their principal interest
I think I'm a little bit surprised by one of the answers that you gave to Justice Barrett. I had understood that TikTok's essential complaint here is that they wouldn't be able to use the algorithm that ByteDance has invented, and that they want to use the algorithm that ByteDance has invented.
100%. And if I was unclear on that, Your Honor, I apologize. That is
okay, because I think what Justice Barrett was saying to you is like, what's the problem here? Because ByteDance is a foreign company. Or maybe this isn't what Justice Barrett says, it's just what I say.
Pause for a second. Now, all of a sudden, it's a problem because it's a foreign company. The United States operates and participates in the free market with foreign companies all the time. Otherwise, we wouldn't have half the products that we have in this country. I just want to remind you of that. And if this app was from Israel, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't even be having this conversation now, would we? It's not even about criticism of the American government, Amy Cohen Barrett. It's about criticism of Israel. Let's be clear. Most of this criticism came after October 7th through the push of the ADL. Now, you can formulate whatever ideas you want in your head, but if you have paid attention to everything that's happened after October 7th, I think we all know who is really running this government. I think we all know who is really calling the shots. And I told you the donors, the billionaires, etc. But there's also a lobby interest group called AIPAC who has tremendous influence over our politicians and our government decisions. So if it's really about a foreign company and country, Ms. Kagan, why is it that when it's Israel, it's okay? Any other country, it's a problem. If it's China, it's a problem. If it's Russia, it's a problem. If it's Israel, it's okay. JFK was correct. JFK was correct when he wanted the former organization, before it was AIPAC, to register as a foreign agent. That was a missed opportunity, but he was killed. If that would have happened, we probably wouldn't even be here today. I cannot believe we are at this point where people are seriously trying to remove an app where most of the videos, from what I've seen, are people doing silly dances. But because there was criticism of Israel, we got to remove this platform. And of course, they're not going to tell you that's the reason. They put the blame on China. You can watch the rest of that hearing if you want to. Like I said, it's very long and very much boring. Again, these justices have no idea how this operates. But let me tell you something, folks. The TikTok creators are fighting back. Power to the creators. Because they decided, since you want to tell us that this is all about China, when we know it's really about Israel, we are going to hop over to another app that really is all about China. And that is exactly what has happened. I don't know if you're familiar with this app, but TikTok users flock to Chinese app Red Note. And by the way, I joined officially today. I tried to join yesterday and I couldn't even create a profile because so many people were trying to join that app at the same time. There's literally a thing on there that's called TikTok refugees on Red Note. It's just like TikTok. It's the same format, right? The vertical videos that you can upload. It's the same format as TikTok. And so many people have joined there now that it has made news. TikTok users flock to Chinese app Red Note as US blooms. Listen to this. TikTok users in the US are migrating to a Chinese app called Red Note with the threat of a ban just days away. The move by users who call themselves TikTok refugees has made Red Note the most downloaded app on Apple's US App Store on Monday. So let me tell you something. As I told you guys before, I worked with Gen Z kids and no, not millennials, just all Gen Z. I worked with Gen Z kids. I told you before, they are incredibly resourceful. So when you remove something from them, they already know what they can go to next. And they made the move before the app was banned. So they were being, they saw this as an urgent situation. And it makes sense. If you're a full-time creator on TikTok, it totally makes sense that where else do I need to go that has a similar format where I can continue doing what I'm doing? Because some people don't look at it this way, but I do. This is still a labor issue. There are a number of people that make money on TikTok full time. You know some of those people, and they do great videos. They do great work. So they said, F that. So all this push from the US government saying that TikTok is China and all this stuff. Now the people on TikTok say, oh, okay. So since you want to go that route, how about we actually do go over to an app that is in China? The move by users who call themselves TikTok refugees, went to that part, sorry. Red Note is a TikTok competitor popular with young people in China, Taiwan, and other Mandarin-speaking populations. By the way, you can even translate it to English too. I did that already. Hey. It has about 300 million monthly users and looks like a combination of TikTok and Instagram. It allows users, mostly young urban women, to exchange lifestyle tips from dating to fashion, etc. And I'll tell you guys, when you get a chance, check it out. I checked it out. Honestly, some people are saying they think this is better than TikTok. Like, it was pretty smooth. Like, the next couple of days might be kind of bumpy because everybody's trying to go over there at once. But once I got it up and going, it was pretty smooth sailing. So I was like, hey, let's do the damn thing. Supreme Court justices are due to rule on the law set January 19th. That's the deadline for TikTok to either sell its U.S. operations or face a ban in the country. TikTok has repeatedly said that it will not sell its U.S. business, and its lawyers have warned that a ban will violate free speech protections for the platform's over 170 million users in the U.S. So Red Note says, welcome. There are 63,000 posts on the topic TikTok refugee, where new users are taught how to navigate the app and how to use basic Chinese phrases. Oh, and by the way, you can educate yourself as well, okay? Get a little bit of education on. People are like, I'm willing to learn Mandarin, damn it. Some of it's kind of easy to figure out because, again, like I said, it's the model of it, like the layout is very much similar to TikTok. So if you can use TikTok, you can figure it out. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do the damn thing. They are pushing people into China's arms instead of pulling them away. And this is what I've said before. You take something from somebody, you tell them they can't have it. They're just going to find another way to have what they want. It's kind of like when you were in high school and you may have had that one friend, or maybe it was your parents. You may have had that one friend whose parents told them, you better not date that guy. We don't want you dating that boy. Some of you are being quiet, but you're probably smiling. You know what I'm talking about. The more they tell you what you can't do, it only makes you want to do it more. So they just pushed them over there. They really did. Right into the arms. So now, it doesn't mean it's censorship free, though. It says, like TikTok, there have also been reports of censorship on Red Note when it comes to criticism of the Chinese government. So it doesn't mean there's no censorship, but I think this is basically a way for TikTok creators to hit back at SCOTUS, hit back at the Biden administration and say, screw you guys, you know? It was really sneaky and crummy what Biden did because Trump had already announced to put a pause on it. So he just pushes it through. You know, Biden, you got to be a catty son of a bitch. Like, I don't think I've ever seen someone like this before. Just so catty, like, ooh, yikes. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then there's this rumor that we do want to kind of put this to rest because this has not been confirmed. So don't get crazy excited about this. But TikTok responds to rumors. China wants to ask Musk to buy the platform, and they are saying this is pure fiction. Now, the last thing we need is for Elon Musk to purchase another platform. No. We all know he's not free speech. Come on now. We all know he'll probably crack down on the Israel, criticism as well. What is happening here? Do we really want Elon Musk to own what's next? Twitter, TikTok? What's he coming for next? YouTube? No. But what it says here is that after rumors circulated Monday that China was looking to have the owner of X purchase TikTok, a representative for the latter said it was pure fiction. So I did want to go ahead and put that rumor to rest. I don't know where it started, but they are saying that they are not looking for Elon Musk to buy TikTok. So Elon Musk still needs to figure out Twitter, number one. And I don't think we need a billionaire owning all these social media apps. It's very dangerous, So it looks like they are going to remove TikTok, at least here in the United States. Based on what I heard from the SCOTUS hearings, it seems like it's heading in that direction. But you know what? Gen Z once again showed you that things can change. More people now are joining Red Note than ever. Interesting, huh? Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.